Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 11 of King City. Now, first things first, we have problem with electricity again in this city, and there are a few bottlenecks that we need to fix. So this time we're going in with the nuclear plant. This is the first time I'm placing it in our city. Now, I do hope this will fix everything, but I do also understand that the problem that we face is mostly with bottlenecks getting created on the limited number of streets that take electricity into the city, and that is the price I have to pay for placing all these plants in the outskirts of our city. But we'll try to fix that as we go on in the game. Now, I do hope you enjoyed the shots I attempted to take from our city. I know they weren't the best, but again, this was the first time I was trying to get some shots from our city. And also, this is the first time I'm playing Cities Skylines, so I'm doing my best. Alright, now all that being said, we've also reached 500,000 people in King City, so that is a milestone of itself. And we'll just be focusing in this particular area in this episode and expanding the city a bit more. Now for the area right here with the 3 roundabouts, I did stick with the European high density buildings. And the reason behind it was I wasn't trying to go too tall with the buildings here. I didn't necessarily want anything that would take away attention from other tall buildings that we have in the area. But I also wanted some density, and I thought the best way to go forward would be to go with the European buildings. And also we are kind of further away from the main center of where we have all the transit and all the tall buildings, so we definitely didn't want to go with something too high or too crazy here. Now, although we don't have any transit that serves the side streets of the area here, what I do like is that we have the tram stop here, And we have a lot of walkways, so people can hopefully use them and get to their houses and get to other stations where they can transfer onto the subway or perhaps the buses up in the north. Now, as I've mentioned in the previous episodes, this is basically our central station. We have both subway lines going through this area, and we have the tram stops. And I also put the museum here, which is a tourist attraction, I believe. And I'm pretty happy to see that we have a lot of people on the sidewalks. So that just tells me that the infrastructure is being used, and hopefully it was placed in the correct way. I also understand that this is a game, but I also believe in our own cities. The amount of people on foot in an area tends to showcase how successful that area is, how livable that area is. So this is pretty good to see, even though it's in a game. So one thing I realized was that the walkways that we have here, they are pretty successful in terms of the people using them. But there was one issue with them, and that was that we didn't have a crossing here. So people who would get off the trams on the other side of the street would basically have no way of crossing onto the other side to use the walkways. So I thought I should go in and create these little walkway underpasses that would basically pop up on the other side of the street, and they would give access for people to cross underneath this road. Now the question is, could I have just created a crossing right on the street? The answer is yes, but the problem that we have here is that this is the main entrance into this part of the city. So the street is pretty busy, and we also have the trams running on them. And I believe that creating a crossing on the street itself would just create much more chaos, both in terms of the tram stopping for people to cross and all the cars going through. So an underneath walkway, passageway, I think better fits the area. And although it kind of looks weird, the way it ends up looking, just because we have nothing on this side of the street. This area will end up getting built as well, and these will just be connections into other neighborhoods. So I think it will all make sense and look better once we're done with the whole area. Now, I was kind of worried that people wouldn't use the walkways, the ones that go underneath the street, just because I thought it wouldn't make sense for them to, but I'm happy to see that people are using them, which is great. Now, we did go in and fill in this area. I went with a few of these modern architecture buildings. I believe that's what they're called. And I did also go in with a park. Now, there is a lot of detailing that needs to be done in this whole area. Um, Now, am I going to do all of it at once? Probably not. But as we go on with the smaller areas getting built, I'll just try to um, detail the area right around it. And hopefully, over time, the whole neighborhood gets fully detailed. So, we still have a lot of demand for offices in the city. Now, we already have a whole lot of high density offices in this area. And I don't know how much more I necessarily want, just because the buildings do tend to be repetitive and they are quite tall. But again, there is not much I can do, so I do go in and try to fill in any empty areas with high density office buildings. And I am kind of scared that if I don't go through with the demand and build them, we're going to have problem growing our city. I am also trying to fill in any empty spots here by the hospital and the mailing office. I do keep the lot sizes pretty small here. That's kind of just been the pattern with the previous developments due in the area. And one of the reasons why I keep coming back to this area and try to fill in any empty spots we have is mainly because we have a metro station here right in front of the hospital, and we have a lot of walking pathways connecting to the streets around the hospital. So I thought it would only make sense to fill it up as much as possible. And the whole idea is to have smaller lot sizes here close to the metro so we can have probably more affordable housing close to very good public transit. So that is kind of the idea behind this neighborhood. Now, I'm not sure if the game will pick it up like that, but that is kind of what I'm going for here. Now back to this area, I initially went in and put in some high density European buildings right by the roundabout. But then I realized it would make sense to have a new metro station here. And when I went into the tunnel network for our metro, I realized that we conveniently have the tunnels running right underneath this area. So that was honestly great to see. So I decided to go in with a new station here. Now, this station is kind of close in proximity to our other stations, but we also do have a lot of density in this area too, even though they are mainly European buildings and they don't get as tall as the North American ones. But I have also placed a lot of them in this area. And who wouldn't want a metro access, right? And I just ended up really liking the location of the station itself. It was kind of in the center of these two streets, so I'm pretty happy with it. And I will end up putting some trees around it, and I think it looks great, to be honest. But one thing to mention is that this will only connect to one of the routes we have, and this is the busier route actually. The other line won't be stopping here. It won't even be going through this area. Alright, so I went in here with a new road right by the water, and we basically won't be building anything below this road, um, like on the water side. Hopefully, we can go in and do something similar to our waterfront here as well and create sort of a second waterfront. Well, that's going to be in the future. But for now, we will be developing all the areas above this road. Now, I obviously won't be going in and trying to fill the area as much as possible with apartments and buildings. We'll try to make the area a bit more unique, and I will go ahead and utilize some of our signature buildings here. I believe I go in with two of the apartments. They're not that tall, and I believe they fit into this area pretty well. They're the type of buildings you would find by a waterfront area, right? I also do go in and create this little area with our Mediterranean architecture buildings. Now the buildings will be very small. They'll all be 2x2 tiles, and I just think it gives a bit more character to the area, and it kind of distinguishes this area from any other area in the city, right? Because we are by the water. You do want something that is a bit different, it's a bit more unique and has some character to it, right? Since we also have demand for high density apartments, I decided to develop this little area on this side of the city as well. It's not going to be anything too special, just some apartments, both medium density and high density. And guess what? Even though we are on the same street as 16 different high schools, the kids moving into these new buildings will still not be able to attend these schools because all 16 of them are at full capacity. So that is just honestly weird and annoying, just seeing all those schools. I just pretend in my head that all these buildings are not schools and they have different uses. But I am thinking of putting a university in this area, so hopefully that will make up for it, right? Even though you can't go to the high school right by your house, you can hopefully go into the university that's close by. Now, here I decided to go in and create this large city park here. Wherever we have a cluster of buildings right by each other, I just find it visually pleasing to have some sort of a green space. And it's also very functional. All the residents living in the nearby apartments, I'm pretty sure they get happier once you put the parks down. So, all in all, it's a win win situation. Now, one thing I realized as I was going through the different services in our city was that we had none of the buildings under the administration section. That includes the welfare building and this one, which is the citizen service center. So I did place this one down, but I was kind of contemplating where to put it down, just because the building is unique in terms of architecture, and I don't want to just randomly place it somewhere. I do want it to have some significance and presence where I put it down. So I was kind of deciding somewhere along this main street here, but I'm still not sure if I'm going to keep it in this location. I just left it for now so that we can utilize the services it has to offer for the city. But there is also a chance I will relocate this building further down the line. I'm still not sure where, but we'll have to see, I guess. Okay, so these are some of the last apartments we were building in this episode. And again, we are sticking with the European architecture just because I do want to limit the height in this area specifically. And it's mostly because we're right by the water and the street just doesn't support that kind of density. Also, we are backing on to the high density apartments we built in the beginning of this episode. I still do want them to kind of stand out. And here we just see all the people that are moving in. You can see the tram stops, they're packed with people. Now, there is quite a bit of traffic on that street, but once they move in, it'll be fine. And this little area that we zoned is kind of not fully built. We just have that one random tall building, which I'm actually kind of okay with. I don't mind how it looks like. Okay, so one of the last things we were going to do in episode 11 is to build some medium density apartments very close to the hospital again. Now, we keep coming back to this area due to the metro station. I think the location is great, to be honest. You're both close to the water and you have easy public transit access, and you have a huge hospital close by. So these are all pluses, obviously. Now, all that said and done, we are going to wrap up episode 11. I do want to thank you if you made it this far into the video. Feel free to go through my channel, look at the earlier episodes we made on this city, and kind of catch a glimpse of how we got here. Now, also feel free to leave me a comment. Give me suggestions in both the way I play the game and in the way I record the game. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks again, and all the best.